Shabbat Shalom. Instead of a formal sermon this evening, I thought I'd just share with you an interesting insight I had as I was looking at the Torah portion in Haftarah this week that Laren is going to read tomorrow morning as part of her bat mitzvah, so you have to come back tomorrow and hear her read it. And while you're listening to the Torah being read and the Haftarah being read, just think about this really odd thing that I'd noticed. So first of all, about 4 months ago, almost exactly 4 months ago on June 4th, I spoke about how crafty our sages were in establishing the Torah and Haftarah readings. And I said that I didn't mean crafty in the sense of sneaky. I meant crafty in how brilliantly and cleverly they crafted the cycle of scriptural readings. This seems oddly to fit with the calendar and the Jewish calendar. So 2 months ago, I pointed out that we were just beginning the first chapters of the Book of Numbers. And as I mentioned then, the sages arranged it so that we always begin the Book of Numbers on the Shabbat right before the festival of Shavuot. And I noticed that the Book of Numbers gets its names because we're giving numbers, we're counting how many Israelites we have to get ready to conquer the land. And on Shavuot, we end the period of counting the number of days leading up to the giving of the Ten Commandments on Shavuot. And so these two countings are symbolically related. We learned that each person counts, just as we learned that every day counts. Every day is a new day, a new beginning, a new opportunity to change our lives for the better. And every person must do his or her part for the society as a whole. And if we see someone faltering, we need to help that person to get back up and try again. So this Shabbat, exactly 2 months later, we're beginning the Book of Deuteronomy. And every single year, the Book of Deuteronomy begins on the Shabbat right before Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the month of Av. And not only that, our Haftarah, the passage we're going to read from the prophets, is the beginning of the book of Isaiah. So we start a new book of Torah, and we read the first chapter of Isaiah on the Shabbat right before Tisha B'Av, which commemorates, sadly, the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem. And again, I think the calendar and the scriptural readings are intentionally linked together. So let's take a look at them. First of all, in Devarim, it comes at the end of Moses' career as a prophet, and Isaiah, we're reading at the beginning of Isaiah's career as a prophet. Devarim opens with, these are the Devarim, these are the words that Moses spoke to the children of Israel. And the opening of Isaiah is Chazon Yeshayahu, a vision came to Isaiah. Moses speaks, Isaiah has a vision. Moses is active, conveying his message to the people. Isaiah is passive, receiving a message from God. Both of Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy is a book with 3 very long sermons. Only Moses could get away with this. 3 very long sermons. He's grandpa. And he's trying to pass along his final advice to the children and grandchildren standing on the banks of the Jordan River. Please, Moses says over and over again, please be good. Please do the right thing. And then he spells out in some detail and specific laws and commandments what the right thing it is that he wants us to do. Take care of the widows and orphans and those who are less fortunate than you are. Return lost objects to their owners. Be honest in business. Don't oppress the stranger. Be kind to animals. Don't become haughty and arrogant. But remember that whatever success you have in life, you owe your success to God's help. Therefore, be grateful to God for all that he has given you. Moses even provides guidance on how to conduct a war ethically, and so on. Chazon, the opening word from Isaiah, as I said, is a vision. It's not words. It's about what God tells Isaiah to the Israelites. It's written by a prophet 400 years after Moses. He's seen the destruction of the northern kingdom of Israel. But what Deuteronomy and Isaiah's vision have in common is that they both predict catastrophe, challenging times in Israel's future. Both Moses and Isaiah predict the Israelites will stray from the path of righteousness, and they will suffer the consequences for their behavior. But both books offer a hopeful future for a better time after that, a return to the land and to God's grace. The ultimate message in Judaism then is that whatever challenges we might face today, if we have faith in God and if we do what is right and what is good to the best of our ability, eventually things will get better and peace and prosperity will be restored. So tomorrow night on Tisha B'Av, we'll commemorate the destruction of the first and second temples. We're reminded of these two catastrophic events in our people's history. And that's the reason our sages aligned the Haftarah reading of Isaiah to coincide with the reading of Devarim right before Tisha B'Av. These scriptural readings remind us of our people's failings in the past and the disastrous consequences that resulted from them. And we'll be lamenting. But even at that very time that they predict calamity, they already provide the seeds of a brighter and more optimistic future. That is what has given our people an indomitable spirit over the centuries, a spirit that has given us the faith, the courage, the determination, the conviction to persevere in the face of adversity. We have never thrown in the towel. We have never given up. We always seek to find a path to restoration, a path towards peace, a path towards a better future. That optimistic message of hope and redemption, I believe, is one that can resonate with all of us today in our own lives as we see the struggles in the world, in our country, and throughout the world. It's a message of hope and optimism for redemption that we can strive to help achieve. Shabbat Shalom.